The next is the report to be considered is that of Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics and Values, Telecommunication, Justice, Information Technology, and National Security and Intelligence on the federal government's suspension of the operation of the social media network Twitter in Nigeria. I now invite Honorable Olugbemi Dokun to give the synopsis of the report.
Mr. Chairman, honorable colleague, you will recall that on the 4th of June 2021, the Minister of Information and Culture announced the immediate suspension of the operation of the social media network Twitter in Nigeria. The Joint Committee conducted an investigation hearing on Tuesday, 22 June 2021, with the Honorable Minister of Information and Culture in audience to brief the committee on the objectives of the intent and durations of the suspension of the Twitter in Nigeria. There are findings, and at the end of the findings, the Joint Committee recommended: 1, the time be allowed for the federal government of Nigeria and Twitter to enter into dialogue process that is already ongoing so as to create room for amicable settlement on the matter. Recommendation number 2, relevant government institutions such as National Broadcasting Commission, the Nigeria Communication Satellite, etc., should be alive to their mandate by doing the needful to avoid the future occurrences of this nature. Number 3, the federal government should take into cognizance the negative effect of the Twitter suspension on Nigerians who depend on the platform for their livelihood. The federal government should be proactive in the interface with the Twitter so as to come up with the timely resolutions on the matter. Freedom of expression is not absolute anywhere in the world. This is because security and freedom of expression sometimes present contending interests. Therefore, national security must be guaranteed at all times, as much as the right to free speech must be protected. Government should always communicate better with the Nigerians when critical decisions are to be taken. I so submit, Mr. Chairman.
From the mandate given to you is not only the minister. That's why you have. I'm looking at part of the recommendation. That's why you have other chairmen that are supposed to be part of you because of that reason. Those chairmen are chairman on communication, the ICT, and the chairman of the national security and intelligence. You have them there because it borders on security, it borders on other sector too. So that we don't rush to do things. This is a parliament.
Yeah, all of the committee chairmen were in the committee on national security is not even available, but it makes somebody to represent him. And the committee on justice was available too. Every committee chairman was there, and the members of the committee were there.
You see, it's your recommendation that is making me to ask questions. And if we are passing recommendation on a decision taken by our government that affects international relationship, bordering on security and whatever are the laws, we should be able to explore first all the avenues in terms of our investigation before we come back to the floor.
The motion regarding Twitter, they had very clear instructions on what to do. To immediately commence an investigation to determine the circumstances of the decision by the federal government of Nigeria to suspend the operations of Twitter in Nigeria. The legal authority for the suspension on the operations of Twitter in Nigeria. Invite the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Alai Mohammed, to brief the House of Representatives on the objectives, intent, and duration of the suspension of Twitter in Nigeria. Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, none of the 5 recommendations have answered any of the questions. Recommending for creation of an amicable room for a room for amicable settlement speaks to no issue. That relevant government institutions as National Broadcasting Commission, Nigeria Communication Satellite, etc., should be alive to their mandate by doing the needful to avoid future occurrence of this. What does it mean? So, Mr. Speaker, furthermore, that the federal government should take into cognizance the negative effect of the Twitter suspension on Nigerians who depends on the platform for their livelihood. Take cognizance of what they are taking cognizance. So we should be responding to what the parliament have asked you to do. There should be a ban or no ban, and there should be an anchor, a basis for it. So the committee has not done a prudent work because they've not asked Parliament to take any resolution on this matter. So it speaks to no issue. Asking government on the SIG recommendation, government should always communicate, communicated better with Nigerians when critical decisions are to be made. What does that mean? So, Mr. Chairman, I will say that this report should go. Should not be considered. Because as a matter of fact, when you look at it properly, the same breaches or no breaches, the same regulations that should be guiding Facebook, that should be guiding other social media handles, are the ones that will guiding Twitter. So I think that the committee should go and do a thorough job to tell us that there is a legal anchor for it, and why is there no legal anchor for the decision on these other social media groups?
The mandates were very clear, and Honorable Toby read out the mandate. But for the avoidance of doubt, I will read the mandate out again. To immediately commence an investigation to determine the circumstances of the decision by the federal government of Nigeria to suspend the operation of Twitter. Perhaps maybe not in copious language, but I think that has been addressed. 2, the legal authority for the suspension on the operation of Twitter in Nigeria. Again, but this time in copious language, that has been addressed. Citing specific authorities and laws made by Parliament. 3, invite the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, to brief the House of Representatives on the objectives, intents, and duration of the suspension of Twitter in Nigeria. I believe Alhaji Lai Mohammed was invited. 3, the Joint Committees conducted an investigative hearing on Tuesday, 22nd of June 2021 with the Honorable Minister of Information and Culture in audience to brief the committee on the objectives, intent, and duration of the suspension of Twitter. Again, I believe that was done, and it was not done in secret. I believe it was covered, video, audio, print, and we all saw it. I think it is uncharitable, almost disingenuous, to come and try and lampoon the work done by the committee. Whatever side of the divide we are on, the committee has discharged its responsibility objectively. They have called the minister who is seized of the facts. They have cited and quoted. The minister has reiterated the laws upon which he operated. Now, if you go to the recommendations which Honorable Toby has a problem with, the recommendations are very clear. They may not be as straight to the point as he wants. And that is the idea, the whole idea of consideration of reports. You can interject, you can amend, you can put in your own recommendation based on the findings. Based on the findings. You can recommend if you want to recommend. Let us know, be cognizant of the fact that the issue of Twitter, or this particular issue, is unusual. It's not your clear-cut, whatever. It involves national security. It involves freedom of speech. It is a medium that we all know that it is almost novel. It's internet. So it must be handled delicately. The balance must be between national security and freedom of speech. And that is what the committee has tried to do. From when I read the recommendation, they were not on the side of government. They made it clear that government should have been more proactive in communicating. They made it clear that government did not do certain things which they should have done. So if Honorable Toby or anybody has an issue or they want to add to the recommendation, by all means, you have a right to do that. But to say the committee should go back and we're prolonging something that is already out there, there's dialogue between Twitter and government. In fact, at this point, we can't even preempt the outcome of the dialogue. We can't even preempt the outcome of the dialogue. So, if you have a recommendation, or you are not satisfied with this particular recommendation, then amend it. We just finished a 318 paragraph amendment. There was a point where we took section 240 something, which we disagreed with, and we amended it. That is what we do with reports here.
And if we're writing reports, I want to beg so that you don't give them the cover, and tomorrow we'll run into problem. We may run into problem because, on the matter that have been raised, I was the first to raise the matter, and I'm convinced beyond reasonable doubt that truly they need to have exhausted more avenues in terms of their own destiny. I just wrote one point. It borders on security, and if it borders on security, just for the mere fact that the motion in its body content says invite the minister, does not stop them or preclude them from inviting the national security advisor. It's for us to hear from the other side. Hearing from the minister who may just have a small percentage of information cannot be a basis for writing a recommendation that Nigerian government have taken based on security. And it should not have been so. Java. I still want, excuse me, I still want to say that they needed to have gone further. And you see, it has shown even from the report that the two chairmen, one, national security, who is supposed to be called a person very active, is not even a participant in it. It has rendered the work, as far as I'm concerned, to some extent, not thoroughly done. And it is not, no, please. If you have issues.
Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, these joint committees were given a mandate, and they have gone and engaged based on the mandate given to them. They have made their own recommendations. What I want to suggest, Mr. Chairman, let us, for example, let us put as part of amendment to the recommendations to advise them to go and re-engage while we consider what they have already submitted.
Now, let me just say this. Mr. Chairman, I totally agree with you that some jobs may not be exhaustive. It happens. And we've had reports like that. But who determines what exhausts? Some people will say you should even go beyond the NSA director. Some people will say invite the president. Some people say, so who determines? Once we have given a committee a mandate, and that mandate is even restrictive. Unfortunately, the committee should have expanded and gone beyond and said, okay, look, NSA, let's invite NSA. But we must also understand, Mr. Chairman, that mandate had a time limit of 10 days. And even already, people were already wondering, what happened to your 10 days? It's now 2 weeks. It's now 3 weeks. There's got to be a beginning and an end to any investigation. So they had 10 days. This is almost 3 weeks later because we went on vacation. So it's important that even though they may not have exhausted all, from the facts and the findings, is that enough? Have they done enough fact finding? I believe that they have. You know, so I don't think there's anything else. There's anything else that the NSA will come and tell the committee that the committee has not already been told by the minister who actually announced the suspension.
Mr. Chairman, when you look at the letter authorizing the committee to do this job, two basic points are contained in the letter. Investigate the circumstances that led to the federal government suspension of Twitter and the legal authority. An express mention of one thing is to the exclusion of the other. We were specifically asked to look at the circumstances that led to the ban and the legal basis. We can't expand our scope beyond that. And in the motion, again, there was a specific mention of a minister again, and that specific mention of one thing is to the exclusion of the other. We have no capacity to expand our scope. And the mandate given to the committee, Mr. Chairman, let me have my own talk. The ruling is yours. Mr. Chairman, the exact assignment given to the committee was carried out. We look at the legal basis. We invited the office of the Attorney General, who is the chief law officer of this country. We invited the Minister of Information, who announced the ban, to explain to us the circumstances. And the same minister that was mentioned in the motion, Mr. Chairman, it seems to us that within the mandate given to us and the motion itself, we have exhausted all the needful.
You could have stated clearly said that when the Nigerian government acted was in line with social section and their action is in order. You didn't make that statement. And that's the truth. Please, I think we should downplay this matter. Thank you.